Welcome to the RF Onboard system. Today's training video will focus on what information the grants office, admins, or PIs will need to input into the RF Onboard system to complete a new hire or rehire packet. We will also show you how to view a pending hire packet, a fully processed hire packet, and how to access the PVN information if you created a PVN for that hire. The system is designed to give you access to view job titles and descriptions if you need to input this information, view budget periods, sponsor information, available funds for your project, and contact information for your project administrator and assistant project administrator. Most importantly, you will have access to your project budget and expense reports and be able to upload relevant documents, such as the justification for late submission or the multiple position authorization forms. You now will have access anytime to view the status of your hire packet in real time. You will see where the packet is currently and what steps that need to occur to finalize your hire packet. You will also have the ability to view an audit trail identifying which action steps have been completed, by whom, by date, and time in addition to current status. The system has an advanced search feature where you can search by the packet number, employee, employee type, college, or status. After you have completed and submitted all of the required hire packet information for your hire, the system will display a message that you are done with your section of the hire packet. The system will automatically send your hire an email with instructions and a link to enable them to begin their section of their hire packet. An example of this is the hire will be able to complete their section of the wage notice after the grants office, admins, or PIs have completed the employer section. Remember to always have your project account number, also known as your PRSY, in the most recent email for your hire. The information will be required to enter into the RF Onboard system. Remember, the email address is to ensure they receive their email invite to begin inputting their information into the RF Onboard system. So, let's introduce the trainer for your session today.
Hello everyone, I'm an HR manager for the Research Foundation of CUNY, and today we will be giving you a demo on how to access and process a hire packet in the new RF Onboard system. The first step you want to do is to go to the RF website. To get there, type rfcuny.org in the URL search bar and click Enter. This will bring you to the RF homepage. I have already completed this step, as you can see on the screen, but the only difference is that I am doing this on a test training website, so my URL is different. After you arrive on the RF homepage, simply click in the username field box located in the top right of this screen and then enter your username. This will be your PI or GO user ID.
If you do not have your 3-character user ID, please contact Web Logon ID at 212-417-8402 or email at weblogonid@rfcuny.org to obtain your 3-character user ID.
So let's start by entering the user ID. Then you want to enter your password and click on Login. If you are successfully logged on, you'll notice up top in the right-hand corner of the screen that your name will appear and there will be a Logout tab, and I am pointing to that area now. Next, we need to access the new RF Onboard system. Hover over Electronic Tools and a drop-down menu will appear. Then scroll down to RF Onboard and click on it. After doing so, you will be on the landing page of the RF Onboard system, as shown on the screen. This system will take over essentially all of your hire packet needs. Any transaction that is performed, any hire that you've entered into the system, you will now have access to, whether it may be a pending hire packet, a hire packet that has been fully processed, or if you need access to it for any particular information. Before we take you through those steps, I want to first go through a few of the important tabs located on the toolbar, to which I am pointing to right now. If you notice, there's a green box that says Start Hire Packet above the tab Create Packet. That is where you start a hire packet in the new RF onboard system. If you click on the tab Pending Packets, you will see all hire pending packets that you have and what their status is. But we will dive into the details of this tab later in the presentation. Please notice the dark navy blue outlining this tab. This means that you are actually on that particular tab. So if you need to know what tab you are on, just look for the tab that is highlighted in dark navy blue. If we click on the tab Processed Packet, you will see all the processed packet information. Again, we will dive into the details of this tab later in the presentation. Let's start with creating a new hire packet, and let's click on the tab Create Packet. As soon as we click on Create Packet, you will see a highlighted tab on the left side of the screen that says Select Entry Method. I am pointing to this tab on the screen. Here is where you choose what method you will use to begin a new hire packet. Please note that you have three options. The first is Select Applicant from PVN, which stands for Personnel Vacancy Notice. If you have an existing PVN, the system will pre-populate the packet fields with the information that is carried over from the PVN. The second is Select Template. This is used after a hire has been processed. What this feature does for you is once you have entered a full hire packet in the system and you have submitted that hire packet, a question will appear at the end that asks you whether or not you want to save this hire packet as a template. If you save it as a template, it saves all the pertinent information related to that particular job. For example, let's say you save a template for this position. Well, the next time that you hire a research associate, you have a template for a research associate, which means you don't have to enter that information the next time that you hire a research associate. The template will pre-populate fields that are relevant. The third option is Start from Scratch. This is used if you don't have a PVN and you're not starting with a template. In other words, you are going to essentially start this hire packet with zero information. I will take you through each method, but let's start with Select Applicant from PVN by clicking on this button. Notice when we hover over the button of Select Applicant from PVN, the button shows a blue outline. Once we click on it, a box will appear asking us to enter the PVN number or the employee name. Since I do not have the PVN in front of me, I will enter the name of the employee. The name is Joe Peters. As I enter the name, the system is intuitive and will list all the names that start with the first or last name based on how you enter the name. In our example, we will search by Peters. Just simply then choose the name of the person that you will be hiring. In our case, it is Joe Peters. Notice that the PVN appears with Joe's name, Joe's email that was entered in the PVN, and the job title that Joe is being hired for. But if you want more information about this particular PVN, you can click here on the PVN number. This will display the job information. It is information that's being pulled directly from the PVN system. It displays the job title, the category, their work location, the department, their hours, their status, and all the qualifications and job duties, including the job description. To exit this screen, click on the X in the right-hand corner. I am pointing to it for all to see. To move forward, we click the green Select button next to Joe Peters. Please notice on the left of the screen, we are now in the appointment stage, which is stage 1 of 5, and the 1 is highlighted. Now, let's look at what we need to enter to create this hire packet. The name has now been pre-populated, but we of course need to enter the hire date. Click in the hire date box and a calendar will appear. Just simply go to the month and year that you are hiring this person on and click on that date. I'm going to go with October 8th. The email has been pre-populated from the PVN. Therefore, you will now have to enter the project number. Once you start entering the prefix of the project number, a box will appear to let you know if this is the grant number that you are attempting to select. It is more of a hint box for you. The system knows that this is the grant that's associated with this particular PI. Now you click on the project number that you are hiring for. I will be choosing 40Z990001. Notice if you click on this More Info tab, it's going to give you the budget period of this particular grant. Also, the sponsor information, the available funds, and your project administrator and assistant project administrator's information. If you'd like to dig deeper and actually review the project and expense report, you can click on the hyperlink Project Budget and Expense Report, as I just did, and it will give you a more detailed report of this particular project. You will see object codes with their description, budget, encumbrance, pay-to-day activity, and available balance. After you have reviewed the information, just click Close or the red highlighted X, and you will be brought back to the appointment page. Now we're going to select the salary expense code. Notice next to each field, there's a question mark button. These question mark buttons give you a description of exactly what it is you'll need to enter for this particular field. So for salary expense code, it tells us that you want to select the salary expense code that corresponds to the personnel budget. Again, this list includes all available salary expense codes, not just the ones applicable to your project. If you're not sure of what your salary expense code is, you could contact your PA and they could give you the information about this code. Remember, to get more information about who your PA is, you can do so by clicking the More Info tab. So let's go ahead with a Research Associate salary expense code. I am choosing 5410. Now notice the job title came from the PVN, so it will pre-populate in this field. If you're looking to change that, you can just click on the drop-down menu and choose a different title. If you need a description of the job titles that the RF has, just click on the hyperlink Job Title and Descriptions to review all the titles. Let's do that now. As you can see, all the information about a job is outlined here for you. Now I will click out of this hyperlink and return back to the appointment screen. Now we're going to move down to position type. Is this hire an on-call employee, a part-time instructor, a regular employee, a seasonal, or a temporary? If you're not sure, what you want to do is go over to the question mark tab to view a breakdown of each position type defined. It tells you what the temporary status is, what an on-call employee is, what a seasonal is, a graduate, and a part-time instructor. You can review the list and see which one complements your hire best. For the purposes of this example, I'm going to go ahead with a regular hire. Now notice the functional title is also pre-populated from the PVN. Remember that the RF job title is linked to your personal budget line of the grant, and the functional job title is what the PI designates as the actual job function. Next, we will be moving forward to the supervisory status. Will this hire have a supervisory role? In our example, we're going to go with non-supervisory. The next field is the physical work location. So where will this hire be working? Are they working in New York, or are they working in another state? If they are working in New York, this will automatically populate as New York. If the state has to change, you're going to go ahead to the drop-down and select the correct state. But for this example, we're going to leave this as New York. Next, we will have to answer if this hire will be employed on CUNY or tax levy payroll. If you select yes, please note that at the end of this transaction, you will be required, as you are today, to submit a multiple position approval letter to Human Resources. This will be done by uploading the letter at the end of this hire packet submission. Let's go ahead and click yes. Now we can click Save and Continue. Notice a pop-up has appeared asking whether we have completed Form I-9. Please note the electronic I-9 system will remain in the mTrust server. Therefore, the new hire processing system will remain separate from the I-9 system. You will have to make sure that before proceeding with this hire packet, your hire has completed Form I-9. If you are responsible for completing the I-9 form, you should have done so by now. If not, please proceed with completing the form. If you are not the I-9 authorized rep at your campus, please schedule an appointment with the authorized rep so that your hire can meet with that individual and complete the online form. If you are not sure who your I-9 rep is at your campus, please contact your Human Resources Coordinator. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Take notice that we finished with step 1. To know that you finished with a particular step, a green check will appear next to the step on the left-hand side, as you can see with step 1. The white highlighted box on the number means you are now at that particular step, so we are now in step 2. Step 2 requires information regarding the job description and qualifications. It has pre-populated this information from the PVN system. If you need to add any additional information to the pre-populated fields, you may simply do so by typing the information in the selected box. We are now going to scroll down to the Supervisor tab. You are going to be selecting who the supervisor is. These names will be driven by your grant. If there is someone that is not in the drop-down, you have the option of then adding a new supervisor. Just click Add, and additional information will need to be entered. As you can see, if I click Add New, all of this information I am pointing to will need to be entered. For our example, I'm going to go with Supervisor Mike B in the drop-down. Once you select that individual, their email, title, and phone number will be populated. If they've uploaded a picture of themselves, the picture will appear here as well. Now the next question is, will this position be contingent upon student status? You will have to select yes or no. This information has been taken from the job duties and qualifications form, so these questions should look familiar to you. I'm going to select no. Next, will this hire be required to operate a motor vehicle? Yes or no? I'm going to go with no. Will this hire have fiduciary or signatory responsibility over $9,999? Again, I will be selecting no. Will this position involve access or contact with any of the following that I am pointing to? These are the vulnerable populations. Remember, you would have identified this information on the job duties and qualification form. I'm going to go with this individual does not have any access to the vulnerable population and click on none of the above apply. Now we will click Save and Continue. But before we do that, please note at the bottom toolbar, I can click Delete if I want to remove this hire packet. Let's click Save and Continue and move on to Step 3. As we begin Step 3, we will be calculating the encumbrance. If we click on the down arrow on the Calculate Encumbrance box, you will have 3 options that you can choose from. The first is hours per pay period. The second is total encumbrance. And the last one is total hours. If you do not know which one to choose, hover over the question mark button next to the box as I am showing you now. Let's start with using hours per pay period. We will have to enter the end date. Let's use December 31, 2019. You may either type it in or use the calendar function. Next, we will be entering the pay rate. You may choose an hourly or a biweekly pay rate. Let's choose hourly and enter $20 per hour. Next, we will enter the hours per biweekly period. What this means is how many hours will this hire be required to work biweekly? Will it be part-time B hours, which is 38 hours or less in a 2-week period? Will it be part-time A, which is anyone that is being hired between 39 and 69 hours per pay period? Or will it be full-time, which is anyone working 70 or more hours in a 2-week period? I'm going to go with 10 hours per pay period. Now we will be selecting the fringe status. Is this hire a part-time B, a part-time A, or a full-time employee? If the 3 of these don't apply, we give you other options that you can choose from. Maybe this person is being hired as a CUNY sabbatical or an F1J1 student. You select the correct fringe status based on the number of hours that the hire will be working, or if they have a special status such as a fixed fringe. I'm going to go with part-time B. Notice that you are not able to enter in the total hours field box or the number of pay periods box. Why? Because the system is going to automatically calculate that for you. So let's go ahead and click Calculate. As you can see, it automatically pre-populated these two boxes for me, and also the employee's salary, the fringe, MTA, and the total expense dollar amount. Also, this screen shows you the position classification of the hire. Notice that once you clicked on Calculate, the system also opened up a notifications box. This is where your messages will be displayed, which is not any different than what is displayed in the EPAF system. Any notification that resulted due to the EPF transaction that was just submitted will appear here. So what it's telling us here is that we selected an exempt title, but we entered an hourly rate of pay. This will classify the employee as non-exempt and will make them eligible for overtime. If you're okay with this, you can go ahead and move forward. If you're not, you will have to reevaluate the position and edit the EPAF. You will have to look for a non-exempt position to be automatically qualified as a non-exempt employee. Now, if you're seeking to hire this person as an exempt employee, then you will not be able to go with an hourly rate of pay. If you need any guidance on doing so, please contact Human Resources and we can certainly guide you on what the best selection would be for you. If all is correct, then we can go ahead and click Save and Continue. But I'm not going to do that because I want to show you what happens when we choose a bi-weekly pay rate. Let's do that. And notice the rate has disappeared and we received a red required notice. What's helpful about this system is that if you overlook a field box and do not enter information, the system will automatically display a red shade on that field box, showing you that you've left a required field blank. You will not be permitted to move forward without entering text in this field. In our example, this occurred because we are editing a pay rate that has been calculated already. Therefore, it is critical to remember to click Calculate after any edits. We are going to click the biweekly button and enter $4,000, and we will keep everything else the same. We will then click Calculate, and notice all the numbers in the total expense have reflected the change. Also notice the notification box on top did not appear as it did in the hourly example. This is because we changed from an hourly to a biweekly pay rate, and that classified the hire as exempt. We will now move to our second option, which is total encumbrance. This method allows for appointments to be calculated based on a total dollar encumbrance. The end date must be entered. This date in our example is pre-populated because I am changing encumbrance calculation method for this hire. But if we were to choose any of these methods initially, you will be required to enter the end date. Now let's enter the pay rate, and we will be entering an hourly pay rate of $20 per hour. Remember, this type of appointment may only be designated with an hourly rate and cannot be modified. We will now have to enter the fringe status and we will choose part-time B. Then we will have to enter the salary encumbrance and we will enter $15,000. Now let's click Calculate, and as you can see, the system has calculated the total expense. Our last method is total hours. This method allows for appointments to be calculated based on total hours for the appointment date range. We will have to enter the end date, and we will now have to enter the pay rate. The pay rate that we will be entering is an hourly rate of $20 per hour. Remember, this type of appointment may only be designated with an hourly rate and cannot be modified. Now we will enter the fringe status and we will choose part-time B. Then we will need to enter the total hours, and we will do so by entering 20. Let's click Calculate, and as you can see, the total expense has been calculated. Please note, very rarely will you ever choose these last two methods. Your primary method is using hours per pay period. So let's go back and save the hours per pay period method. For pay rate, let's choose hourly and enter $20 per hour. I'm now going to go with 10 hours per pay period. We will then choose the fringe status, which will be part-time B. Let's click Calculate, and then we will click Save and Continue. We are now in step 4, which is entering the work schedule for this hire. Because we entered an even number of 10 hours, the schedule automatically pre-populates to equate to 10 hours. If this schedule does not match the hours that the hire will be working each day, you can certainly go ahead and adjust. For this example, I'm just going to leave it at 1, and we can now go ahead and click Save and Continue. We are now in the final step, which is step 5. This is the Documents tab. What you will have to do now is sign the wage notice for this hire. To do so, you're going to be clicking on Notice and Acknowledgement of Pay, which is located in the middle of the screen in bold. When you click on the wage notice, the form will appear on your screen as you see now. Now you will need to click Continue, which is highlighted in an orange box located in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. When you click on Continue, the wage notice will become activated. This information is the same that would appear on the website generated form. We can see the rate of pay, and also, since this is a non-exempt position, the overtime rate of pay will appear. You must now sign the wage notice by clicking on the Sign button in yellow located on the right side of the screen. Notice how your signature has appeared electronically. Please note, when you log into the RF onboard system for the first time, you will be prompted to create your DocuSign signature. You will not be completing the bottom portion of this, as this is left for the hire to complete. Once you've signed, you may go ahead and click Finish. The system will then direct you to click the red X here at the top right corner. So let's do that. The system brings us back to step 5 because we need to upload 2 more documents. A justification for late submission because the notice and acknowledgement of pay rate was signed after the employee's hire date, and the multiple position authorization form. Remember, if you hover over the question mark, you will be able to read the reason why you need these forms. Also, take notice that the RF CUNY application of employment is here. This is an optional form to be uploaded. If you need to add a form, just click on Add New, which I am pointing to on the screen. So let's go ahead and upload the required documents. Click on Upload next to the form, and this will open your files on your PC. Find the documents on your computer and click Upload. As you can see, it's simple. Now that we've done that, let's go ahead and click Save and Continue. Now we are on the Notes page. Before we submit this hire packet, you have the option of sending a message to the hire. This blank box is an optional field that you can make use of. You may enter text in this box to send a notice to the hire upon receipt of the hire packet. For example, perhaps you would like the hire to meet with you on their first day in a particular location on campus. This would be a useful box to enter that notification. Now let's look at the buttons on the top right of this page. There are 3 buttons: Notes, Audit, and Print. If we click on Notes, this will give you the option of adding a note, as you see on the screen. If you click on Audit, you have an audit trail showing you the timeline of the hire packet and the status. And lastly, Print. This gives you the option of printing the hire packet's position information, the audit trail, or the notes. You can choose any or all of these requests. Now on the bottom of this screen, you have the option to delete, save, or submit your hire packet. So let's say you've learned that this hire perhaps has accepted a position elsewhere, or you've decided not to move forward with this hire. You may scroll down here and click on delete, and it will delete the entire transaction. Now, if you're not ready to submit this, perhaps you didn't have the employment application handy, or there's a piece within one of the 5 steps that you need a little more time entering, you can just click save, and it will save this transaction without submitting it to the next step. If you've reached this step and you do not have to make any changes or delete this hire packet, then you're all ready to move forward and submit this packet to the next recipient. So let's go ahead and click on submit. Once you've clicked on this, you will receive a pop-up that will let you know that the packet has been submitted. We will then be given a few options. The first option is to add a new packet. So if you're looking to onboard another hire, you can click on add a new packet, and it will bring you back to step 1 of the process, and you start all over with a new hire. The second option is you'd like to save this packet as a template. As I mentioned, this option will save the job information that you've entered here on the new hire packet. So the next time that you hire a research associate, it will automatically save that job information, and you can use this template to pre-populate the fields. The third option is to view pending packets, which is any packet that you submitted that is pending status, or any packet that you have saved that is still pending your action. By clicking on this, it will show you anything that is pending. I will dive deeper into this later in the presentation. The undo submission option is for when you have submitted and realized that something is missing, or incorrect information was discovered that needs to be corrected. You can click undo submission, and it will pull this hire packet back for you. To see the status of this hire packet, you will click on learn what's next. Let's do that. As you can see, it will show you exactly where you are with this hire packet. We are here, and you've submitted this hire packet, and it has moved from here to here. It is now pending GO submission, which is your grant officer. So your grant officer must review this transaction and approve it. If you are not a GO-driven school, the grant officer approval is not required. Then what will happen is this packet will skip this step, and it will then move to pending employee action. For this example, we are working with a GO-driven school. Therefore, the packet has to move forward for grant officer approval, and that's where we are now. Once the employee completes their part, it is then submitted to HR. HR reviews and approves the hire packet. So we are now in the last step. We have now submitted this hire packet, and we will now await for GO approval. Let's save this packet as a template. We need to give this template a name and description. We will call this Research Associate with a description of XYZ, and then click Save. Now let's click on Create a Packet, but this time we will choose Select Template. I am looking for Research Associate with the description XYZ. Let's scroll down until we find it. There it is. Let's select it. This is for the same project. If it was for a different project, I would choose the new project, but all the position information would remain the same, and at the end, I would save this as a new template to use for the same project in the future. Notice the employee's name does not pre-populate. You will have to enter this information. I will be entering Joe Penn with a hire date of December 20, 2019, and an email address of jp@123.com. If you are going to be changing information within this template, you can just go ahead and click on the drop-down and choose the new information. But because I saved this as a template, all of the information that I have here is correct. I want to use the same information, and that is why I saved it as a template. All the information on this screen is correct. You will now have to answer whether this hire is employed on CUNY or tax levy payroll. I'm going to move forward with no. Now we can click Save and Continue. Once you've done that, once again, a pop-up will appear asking you if Form I-9 has been completed. Remember, it's important that if you have not completed the I-9 form, that this hire completes one as soon as possible. Because we saved this as a template, step 2, the job description information will pre-populate. The qualifications will appear and particular position information. So let's say that after you save this template, information changed for this particular position. For example, this hire was required to drive a vehicle as part of his or her job duties, and they did have contact with the vulnerable population. However, that has changed for this hire. You can then go ahead and change the selections here. However, you would have to save this as a new template if you would like the updated changes to reflect in a new template. Otherwise, the same template will be used for future hires. I'm going to keep the information the same, so we're going to go ahead and click Save and Continue. Now step 3, same as before, we will be required to enter the encumbrance information. So let's enter the encumbrance date of December 31, 2019. The pay rate is hourly, and we will enter $20 per hour. I will be entering 10 hours per pay period with a fringe status of part-time B. Now let's click Calculate and then Save and Continue. We are now in step 4. The scheduled hours will be the same as the previous hire, so we can go ahead and click Save and Continue. Now we are in the final step, step 5. This is the Documents tab. We need to sign the notice and acknowledgement of pay, so let's go ahead and do that. We will follow the same steps of before. Now let's click Save and Continue. Remember, if you made any changes to the hire packet, save this as a new template. Now you can add a message if you wish to, and then click Submit. As you see, you are now done. Using a template will make your job so much easier. I highly recommend using this tool. But remember to use a good description so you can identify your type of hires for future use. Now let's click Go back to create a packet and start from scratch. As you can see, you will have to complete every field in each step. In step 1, you must complete all of these fields shown on the screen. In step 2, you must complete the job description and qualifications in all other fields. In step 3, you will be required to complete all of these fields as well. In step 4, you will be required to enter the schedule. In step 5, you will be required to upload all documents. As you can see, it is in your best interest to do a PVN or to save a template for your hires. It will make your completing a hire packet so much easier. Now let's review the tab Pending Packets on the top toolbar. In Pending Packets, you can search by action list or packet details. We will start with action list. We have 3 choices in the sub-toolbar, and these are My Packets, My Action List, and Other Packets. Let's start with My Packets. These are packets created or submitted by you. This screen will show you all of your packets. Let's review the dashboard. Your packets will be organized by name, packet ID, RF job title, the hire date, the date it was submitted, the project number and title, the college, the status. Now when you click on the hyperlinks in status, as I am doing now, it will show you where your hire packet is within the process. Now audit, if you click on the clock under audit, you will see the actual audit trail of your hire packet as shown. If you click on the employee box next to the employee name, the toolbar above this dashboard will highlight the options that you may be permitted to execute with this hire packet. As you can see, with the one that I chose, I have the option of submitting or deleting. The other two options are return or recall. Return is where you would return this packet back to the last person or persons in the status chain. Recall is when you are bringing the packet back from the last person that you sent it to within the status chain. When we click on My Action List, the dashboard is the same as My Packets, except these hire packets are pending for an action for you to execute. If you look under Status, it will identify your required action. The other sub-toolbar is Other Packets, and these are pending packets that are created or submitted by someone with access to your projects. This dashboard is identical to sub-toolbar tabs. Now next to Action List on the Pending Packets toolbar is the next tab we will discuss, which is Packet Details. Here is where you can search by any of the following categories: packet number, employee, employee type, field user, project, college, employment status, packet status. Let's use employee and type in Peters. Notice all the Peters will come up. Just simply choose the correct one. In our example, it's Joe Peters. Once we have entered the name, we will click Search and Joe's packet information will appear. Now let's go to the top toolbar and choose Process Packets. All the packets that have been approved will appear on the same dashboard as we have been reviewing, except on the top right if you click Show Filter. The search engine will appear to allow you to search for any hire packet. You have now completed the training for the RF onboard system. Congratulations. Enjoy this new easy process. And if you have any questions, please call 212-417-8600 and follow the prompts.